Hi, welcome to my channel, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. I'm so glad you're here.
Today I'm doing rustic DIYs.
Now let's get crafting.
I'm so excited about this DIY. I'm using an old book and it's a diet book. What I'm going to do is show you how to fold this to make a book page vase. I'm going to do it 3 times. So you're going to fold the bottom corner up, and then you're going to take that whole piece and fold it to the spine. And then that little triangle at the top, you're going to fold over and then tuck it underneath. And you're going to do that every other page. And then try to push it way down because it's going to really need to be pushed down as you go. The next one, you're going to take the top and fold that corner down to the spine. Then you're going to take that bottom right corner and just fold it up to the line of the other fold, and then take the little triangle point and fold it to the end of the paper of the bottom fold. Literally, you're going to do this every other page for the entire book. My book was about 300 pages, so depending on how big you want this to be, that's how it would go. And I'm not going to show you every page I'm folding, obviously, but I'm going to show you various stages as I go. You can see it's starting to look like a vase. And I wanted to show you that if you didn't want to do a full vase, you could put like on a piece of cardboard or on a frame. You could just do like a half one, and that would be kind of a cool wall hanging. Anyway, I'm also going to link the person who I learned how to do this from. It was from a YouTube video from a lady who mostly does crocheting, but I really loved her technique, so we'll make sure to put a link for that in my description box. And I'm showing you the spine there because you really want to fold that in and get it as tight as possible. I'm using this amazing netted ribbon from BURLAPfabric.com, and I will have a link down in my description box for this. And I'm just rolling it, literally just rolling it and then kind of looping it as I roll so it's not a tight roll. And then I'm going to cut it off at the end and just turn it into a flower, and it kind of has like a rose-like look. And literally, I made this up. You could just do it any way you want. I just had this idea that it would work. The ribbon does have wire in it, and that's why it's possible to kind of shape it. So once I get that completely shaped and kind of fluffed the way I want, I'm going to take a little piece of jute twine and I'm going to just tie it around the bottom to secure it so that it doesn't fall apart. Next, I'm going to take some burlap that I got at Walmart. I'm just going to cut off a little strip, and I'm going to pull off all of the strings going the long way up to right close to that seam on the other end. And then I'm making this one up too, by the way. I'm just going to roll it and just kind of, roll it back and forth, maybe a little, twist it a little bit, and literally just kind of make a wildflower looking thing. I'm just trying to make a bunch of really rustic kind of flowers out of the rope and the burlap and that kind of stuff, just to make it, really kind of cool and maybe a little bit vintage-ish looking. Vintage-ish, is that a word? I don't know. I think I made it up. Oh well. So I'm just trimming the top, giving it a little haircut. And then I'm going to take some more of the jute twine and I'm going to wrap it around 4 fingers, like you're going to make either a tassel or a pom-pom. And I think I wrapped it around like 15 times. And then I'm going to cut it off and I'm going to tie another piece right across the middle. And I am actually going to do this twice. And then what I'm going to do is lay them across each other and make a flower that way. Now I'm going to take this really pretty, very thin kind of ombre tone yarn I got at Walmart, and I'm going to wrap it around each petal back and forth across the middle and just kind of give it a little color because I thought that would be fun too. Once I've secured that, I'm going to cut off the excess thread and I'm going to fluff my flower, all the little loops all the way around. I took some flower pieces that I had around and just pulled off really small pieces and hot glued them to the center of some of the flowers that I made using the twine and the burlap. I just thought that would be really fun. And now I'm making another flower, and I actually got this idea from Leonette at DIY Beauty on Purpose. She did this in one of her videos, and I'll link her down below as well, where she pulled out the long threads between the two edges, so you don't take it all the way to the edge. But you see how the edges have seams? And then I'm going to take the bottom and hot glue it up to the other edge all the way across the piece, and then I'm going to roll it and hot glue it, and it makes such a pretty flower. And I did want to give her credit for that. Now I'm going to fluff it, and then I'm going to add a little piece of a yellow flower right into the center, and I just love the look that this gives with these flowers to add the color. And I'm just going to add a few more little flowers to the center of this one. And now I'm going to make another one, but this time I'm just going to wrap it around 3 fingers. I think I did 15 times again. And I'm going to tie the middle like I did before. I made 2 of these. And after I'm done, I'm going to actually cut the loops open this time to make a little bit of a different looking kind of a flower. I'm going to lay them across each other like I did with that other flower, and then I'm just going to fluff it out after I hot glue it, and there's that flower. And I'll add something to the center also to give it a little bit of color. I've got this cute little pick of off-white flowers from the Dollar Tree, and I'm going to add those to the center, so it's going to be attached to the inner spine. And then I've got this leftover pick of lavender that I took the lavender pieces off of, and on the ends I'm going to add all of the different flowers that I made out of the burlap and the twine, and that way it'll look like it's coming off of a stem with leaves, and I just love the way that looks. And I'm going to hot glue it into the spine so it stays put. And then I'm going to add those other flowers that I showed you first, and I'm going to hot glue those as well. And that way they won't go anywhere. Now, if you wanted to change this out seasonally, I wouldn't hot glue then. I would just stick them in there and maybe put some tape or something. And now I added 2 different kinds of very sheer ribbon from the Dollar Tree. I just thought that would be very pretty and light. And then I'm going to take this really cute lace ribbon from the Dollar Tree and just wrap it around the center of my little bow. And I just did a very basic, shoestring bow. And I'm going to cut the ends of my bow with dovetails, and that is it. I absolutely love how this turned out, and I'm actually giving it to my mom for Mother's Day because she is quite the avid book reader. I hope you guys like it. Today's video is part of an open invitation collaboration hosted by Connie's Nails and Creative Creations, and she has asked me to be her co-host, for which I am very honored, and it's called A Little Bit Rustic. I'll have a playlist linked down in my description box, as well as Connie's channel information and link, and I hope you'll go watch the rest of the videos and definitely visit Connie. She is incredibly creative and artistic and very talented. And if you're here for the first time visiting from one of the other channels, welcome! I am so happy to have you here. I hope you'll consider joining me on YouTube by hitting the red subscribe button and then turning on the notification bell so you always know when I have a new video coming up. I do all kinds of DIYs in different styles. There's something for everyone. Now this DIY is super rustic and very inexpensive and easy to do. I have some sticks that my husband gathered for me from our yard, and I'm just figuring out the right ones that I want to make a ladder out of. So I needed 2 really thicker long ones and then 4 that would go across that weren't quite as thick. So I'm figuring that out right now out of all the sticks that I do have. And then I'm going to use my tin snips, and I'm going to cut off all the rough edges, which I will have a link for that in my Amazon store down below. And they work really well for that, by the way. And I'm going to use my little ladybug vacuum to clean up all the little debris, and there's a link for that too in my store. And now I'm just kind of placing everything to see if I need to trim some more, which I got out my little handy dandy saw from the Dollar Tree, and I struggle with that thing, but I did get the job done. And so now I am going to cut some rope, and this rope is like a double ply, if you will, so I'm going to separate it and I'm going to use the single ply part of it because there's no reason to waste all of that rope. And I'm going to hot glue all the pieces in place so that they don't move around while I'm trying to tie the rope around. And I'm literally just going to put the rope underneath, tie a single knot, hot glue it down, and then wrap it around each side and hot glue that down, and then trim the edges. And I'm going to do that for all 8 intersections. So I cut 8 pieces of that rope. And then I also cut 4 pieces of the rope to go on the very ends of the longer pieces, which you will see shortly. And I'm going to wrap those around and hot glue them as well. And I decided that I wanted to use my antique wax on the twigs because I wanted it to look a little darker. And I really like the way that looks. So I applied it to every single part. And then I took a paper towel and I rubbed off all of the excess so it wasn't like super, super dark. And here I am now going back in and doing the ends of the long pieces of the ladder just so it has a little bit of a more finished look. I really love the size of this ladder. I can place it in so many different parts of my home and style it all different ways. And I don't have anything like this, so I'm really excited and I hope you guys like it. Did you know that I'm on social media? You can find me on Instagram, Pinterest, and Facebook. Same name, Living My Best Life with Lisa Marie. Come on over and say hi. This is going to be another really easy DIY. I am using a DIY that I previously made, but it doesn't really fit my decor, so I decided I would go ahead and use a blade and take off the canvas that I had painted. I'm just going to pull that all off, and I'll use the canvas, the opposite side that I had painted on, for something else. I removed the staples, which are not the easiest thing, by the way, and then I sanded all the way around every surface on this because I just wanted it to not, give me splinters. And I've got this really cool wide ribbon from burlapfabric.com, which I will also have linked down below. I'm just going to cut a piece that fits across the entire frame, and I'll use that shortly. I'm going to use my Kills primer, and I am going to just lightly paint every part of this little frame, inside, outside, back, everything. But I'm not going to do a full coverage because I want it to look distressed and I want some of that wood to peek through. And I'm going to use my heat tool so that I can dry that quickly, and I'll have a link in my Amazon store for that. Now I'm going to use my staple gun, and I'm going to attach this piece of ribbon that I cut to the back of my little frame. And I'm going to use quite a few staples because I want it to stay in place. And I do go later and I reinforce with a little bit of hot glue too, just in case it frays. And I have these little teeny sticks that I cut, and I'm going to do a little pattern where I kind of go back and forth like V, upside down V, V, and cross over the tops and bottoms of each one. I'm going to hot glue those in place. Like I said, this is super simple, very rustic, and it will fit with all kinds of different farmhouse decor, primitive, or just whatever you do rustic. And I just thought it would be really cute to add nature with some of my Dollar Tree stuff, and it's an easy project. And I'm going to take a little bit of my antique wax from Waverly, and I'm going to use a baby wipe. I'm just going to wipe it on lightly on all of the surfaces where I painted it with the wipe. Now I'm going to take a little piece of rope, and I'm going to hot glue that to the back and then reinforce that with a couple of staples as well. So I have a nice little hanger that you won't see when it's hanging up. Off camera, I added some little greenery that was rub-on stickers from Dollar Tree, and I just love it. And now for one last look at all 3 of these very rustic DIYs. I'm super happy with how they turned out. I really love them. My mom loved her Mother's Day gift, which was really cool. Do not forget to go check out that playlist down in my description box and watch all the other rustic videos. This was such a fun collab to be part of. Connie does this every month, so be sure to watch out on her channel for the next A Little Bit Rustic open invitation. And to let me know you're still here at the end, comment the word rustic so I know you were here. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate the time that you take to watch my videos. It means so much. I will hope to see you in my next video, and please remember that you are a blessing to me.